Hi, Steve Cooper, Rank Success, and this is a short video in relation to performance issues, and I mean within your team. So as an aspiring leader, supervisor, manager, you will be responsible for not your own performance necessarily on its own, but more for the performance of a team. So if you're going for promotion and you're running around trying to get noticed, or you're doing good work in the spotlight, when you get promoted, the spotlight is turned off, and boom, the spotlight is turned on to your team, your new team, and you will then be assessed and judged and measured and assessed, if you like, on their performance. So that's where you step into that role, those expectations at the new level of the role or rank that you're going for, whether that's sergeant or inspector. You'll be then managing yourself, managing your own work, and managing your team's work. So being assessed and being measured, if you like, on their performance requires or involves some understanding around how you're going to address that, how you're going to deal with that, how you're going to meet those expectations as a new leader, as a new manager, as a new supervisor. And you may only have been previously, occupied by your own workload, which sometimes is a real undertaking. So being effective in how you manage that and keep on top of it to the best of your ability is important. But now you're looking at perhaps 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 other people's workloads. And as an inspector, you're probably looking at the overview of workloads across your teams and performance. So allocating work as an inspector, but monitoring the progress and the quality of it. It's sometimes difficult to do over a period of time. So that links into some of the role functions. So, and by that I mean, allocating that work and monitoring it over, longer term. So plans, three months, 6 months, 9 months, action plans, etc. So just come back to this thing around on a promotion board. When you sit down, you may well be asked a question very similar to can you tell us what your approach would be to managing performance on your team, or managing demand on your team, and then looking at how you might deal with performance issues in relation to people, and also some of the reasons behind it. And if you do this work, if you do this thinking, and I've done blogs on that. One of the blogs, if you hop on over to policepromotion.blog, you'll find a blog called The Return of CompStat, which is the American computer statistics performance measurement regime that was in place at one time. But it's a good blog for you to read to get some bearings around how you might manage performance, what it is, what it isn't, and then come back, if you like, to your aspirations now to get on and to lead a team. And there are 4 things that generally affect or cause performance problems, and it helps to know them. And if you know them, when you go into a board or an assessment process, it's just 4 things, so you can look at them and filter the issue, the challenge, the problem that you're looking at or you're being presented with through those different lenses, and perhaps come up with some ideas or some actions, some leadership actions, which is what you're being assessed on in these processes. So the first of the 4 in relation to the causes of performance are knowledge or skills. So knowledge or skills, when you're looking at somebody and they're not performing well, or the issue is that there's poor performance there, or areas of development, shall we say, the person doesn't know how to perform the process correctly. So that could be lack of skills, knowledge, or abilities. So there you go, knowledge or skills. What can you do about that? What will you do about that to help that individual? And a lot of this is linked to where people are in terms of their relationship with you, with CPD. Where are they on their continuous professional or personal development? At their workloads, where are you with that? Have they got the skill set to deal with this? Have they got the knowledge? Is it a cause of performance because they haven't got the knowledge or the skills? So we slow time down a little bit just to talk about that for a minute. The second part is process. We have lots of processes, or you have lots of processes in policing, and they change from time to time, and particularly around one of those areas, let's say crime investigation, that often pops up on HMIC inspections, and that's the police effectiveness, efficiency and legitimacy inspections. And one of the areas that repeatedly crops up there is standards of investigation. So in terms of the process of investigation, it might be very helpful for you to know a bit more about that. And again, I've written a blog around that, around managing crime investigations and your responsibilities as supervisors and managers of investigations. So that's helpful material. But the problem in relation to performance is not individual related, but it's caused by working conditions, improper procedures and processes. So again, just knowing that you know, it's part of a process. So have a look at the process. Is the process something that needs to be looked at, and is that affecting the performance of an individual or teams, or is it causing performance issues? The third point to come across is resources and lack of resources or technology. So it's easy to say that, and people often volunteer that, but look, we don't have the resources, and policing's particularly challenged for resources. Your role as a sergeant, as an inspector in inspecting ranks, is to manage resources. You get given allocated resources. Yes, you always want more, but is the performance issue resource driven? Is it genuinely about lack of resources or a technology issue? So focusing on that, looking at managing resources. Do you have enough resources? Have you made the bid, the case through, let's say for instance, tasking and coordination meetings? Have you bid for more resources? How else can you get those resources? Do you need to acquire more resources? What do you believe resources are? Because when I speak with people and I'm coaching them and I ask them, tell me about the resources available, they'll often use terms like manpower, and very much, you know, centered around just that one aspect, where if you open up the scale of thinking around that, you've got money, time, people, equipment. They're all resources. So when I talk about resources leading to performance issues, again, as a thinking filter, it's helpful for you to stop and think about that. Resources, yes, that may be the issue. What can I do about that? It's always going to be a challenge, but it certainly sits in terms of causing some performance issues. And the last point, or the fourth point, is motivation or culture. And you know, one of the things I would say is, if you leave the police station, you go home at night, leave the police building, everybody goes out and they turn the lights off. There's no culture in the building. It's all gone home with the people. It's gone home with you. And when you all come back in the morning with you, leading and managing, the culture's back in the building. Culture returns with the people to the building, and you can influence that through your leadership styles and behaviors and actions. So motivation and culture, the person knows how to perform. So if a person knows how to perform, but they do so incorrectly, what is the culture? What is the support around them? What's the environment like for them? Is it an environment where people can innovate and thrive and excel, where they come to work, where they're happy, genuinely happy to come to work and be themselves, and they can be themselves and be innovative and creative? Are they motivated to come to work? What's the environment that you're creating for them? So again, just 4 little quick things to look through around performance issues. So I'll just capitalise on those again, or repeat those again. Knowledge or skills, process, resources, motivational culture. Now those are in my digital downloadable toolkits, those major causes of performance for you to look at, but it's something that you can think about now in terms of aspiring to lead a team. Just help you make that little adjustment in thinking, okay, I'm managing myself and my own workload, but as a sergeant or inspector, I'm going to be managing a team, and I'm going to be managing the team's work. How will I do that, and how can I help think about that through some different thinking lenses? Okay, thanks for listening. I will be back with another video in due course. Until then, take care and stay safe.